Hey, how is it going? I am Anthopants. I wanted to talk about this. Push Square has an article by Sammy Barker. I actually like what it says. I want everyone to understand this. I do like what it says, but I am going to trash it a little bit. I hope nobody takes too much offense to it. I just am a little bit of an intense person. I'm a little bit peeved as well, which I think is important to know. Like, I have a little bit, like, my emotions are a little bit high. So I'm going to be probably a little bit harsher than I should be. But this article did what it's supposed to do, which is it got my attention, and it got me wanting to talk about it. This, which I don't know. Anyway, hopefully we'll be okay. So hands on, planting our bare knuckles on Streets of Rage 4. Sammy Barker. Discard the dizzying politics, and we're truly living in the greatest timeline. I actually think we are probably living in the greatest timeline. The dizzying, I understand the dizzying politics. I understand what you're saying. The politics can be outlandishly bad, though. Like, World War II is really bad politics. That's like different countries signing peace treaties and then attacking each other afterwards, and making decisions on, like, okay, what are we gonna do? We're gonna send in ground forces and lose like a 500,000 people just on our side. It's gonna be worse on the losing side, by the way. But let's just get past it. Let's get past that. The politics aren't bad, though. That's the thing. We actually are living in good political times when there isn't a massive world war going on. Let's let this sing for a minute. Shenmue 3, Windjammers 2, and Streets of Rage 4. We as a species simply don't deserve such riches, but feast on them. Glutton. Yeah, but we're hungry for these retro. Yeah. Okay, we're getting a little whimsical here. With a napkin on our lap, then let's talk about .amu's latest. It sees the return of roast chickens. It would appear that returning heroes Axel and Blaze still have stomachs industrially reinforced by Gaviscon. You can't be industrially reinforced by a medication. I believe Gaviscon's a medication, unless I'm thinking differently of it. But anyway, as the duo can guzzle down, thrown out poultry without so much as a twinge behind their sculpted abs, that's something that happens when you work out. Michael Phelps, professional bodybuilders, they'll down like 6,000 calories, just like 4 times more than you're supposed to, and they'll stay in good shape because they're actually burning it off. So that's how you build muscle, actually, is by eating a lot and then burning it off. Okay, this time they're joined by guitar wielding rockstar Sherry Hunter, and one more still to be revealed. We actually think there might be 2 more revealed because there seems to be 2 shadows. One person on the right with robotic armor, then one person in the back who to me looks like Max, but it might not be Max. We're not sure. The gameplay is much as you'd expect. You lay the smackdown on bad guys named Kevin in traditional side-scrolling stages. Kevin's like was just introduced in this game. Why not say Donovan or Gauzia? The publisher's trademark cartoon art style returns to Bemused pixel art purist, which is true. They have now like a cartoon style, and the pixel people are angry about it, but that's okay. I actually like the art style. But just like the aforementioned Windjammers 2, it looks stunning on the screen. The strong shading and bold use of colors makes for a really sharp image that demands your attention. Hopefully I'm reading this right. Sometimes I'm just guessing at words. Perhaps the biggest concern here is the beat-em-ups aren't anywhere near as entertaining as they used to be. The gameplay formula has grown tired. And from what we've seen so far, this sequel is doing very little to evolve it. There are minor tweaks to the way health replenishment and power-ups work, as well as an emphasis on co-op, which allows players to play Pong with villains. But you hammer the punch button a lot mainly. Okay, Sammy, the reason why it feels this way, I'm going to be very honest with you, is because if you're playing, let's just pick a different genre, the fighting game genre. And if someone says, wow, this is getting tired, it's because they're at a very low level playing this, and they're probably button mashing. And button mashing doesn't take a whole lot of cognitive ability. And when you're playing a game like, I don't know, Streets of Rage 2 on top difficulty, which is Mania, it takes a massive amount of cognitive ability. And you're not just hammering buttons. Every button press that you do is either going to get you wrecked or it's going to have you wreck other people. Watch me play Max, Streets of Rage 2 on Mania. Watch me play Max. Just watch a level. Watch like 10 seconds of it, and then see if you feel like, wow, you're just smashing the same button over again, or if it looks like I'm doing very intentional things with very intentional timing. Games are going to feel this way when you're at a very low skill level and you're just smashing the same button over and over again. That's the way games feel. What you need to do is, when you're playing a demo, it's obviously not going to be the same, but what you need to do is return to a game like Streets of Rage 2, put your adult pants on, put the game up to its top difficulty, then get annihilated by it and find that just smashing buttons doesn't really work very well. Unless you're playing as Axel, because that's what Axel does really well. But if you're throwing on Skate or Max, you're going to get wrecked using that strategy. You're not supposed to be playing on normal default baby difficulty when you're an adult. It works when you're a kid, but it doesn't work when you're an adult. As an adult, we need a little bit more to stimulate us. So that's where I'm standing there, okay? But I get what you're saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But it sounds like you're playing the game wrong. In the same way that someone who's just smashing buttons is playing fighting games incorrectly. You can play it that way, but it is incorrect. And if you go up against a pro, or if you go up against a high difficulty like Mania in Streets of Rage 2, or like a very good player at a fighting game, you will get annihilated. Button mashing. Okay, here we go. Onward. Curiously, there was no headphones available to our gameplay session, so we didn't get to hear how it sounds. Original series composer Yuzukishiro and Motohiro Kawashima will return, so expect a suitably filthy soundtrack. Suitably filthy soundtrack? That's such a weird way of putting it. Grimy is probably a better way of putting it, but maybe grimy was used too much, so you flipped it to filthy, but filthy kind of almost doesn't really work in this context. I get what you're saying, but it's like the soundtrack has never really been filthy. You know, it's been kind of like industrial, maybe, is a good way of putting it, especially Streets of Rage 3, but filthy, I don't know about that one, but that's okay. Let's move on, Sammy. To be honest, we're not sure how the grimy audio, there we go, we got in the grimy again, we'll pair it with the clean visuals, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, like, you should have switched filthy with grimy, and then switched grimy not with filthy, because that would have been weird, and then just put like a different word in there, but that's fine. We're not going to get too far into that. Streets of Rage 4, though, it's a sequel we never thought we'd see, which is true. The new character does spice things up a bit, but we're talking about Cherry Hunter. Her attacks look wildly different to those utilized by the original cast. Not really, if you're looking at Skate. Actually, if you're familiar with the games, we had characters like Skate in Streets 2 who could run. Then a lot of her moves are based on Adam, Axel, Skate. There's some Blaze in there too. If you're actually looking, you'll see a lot of her taking inspiration from the older characters, as though she was trained by Adam, her big brother, by, Skate, her big brother, by Axel, a family friend, by Blaze, a family friend, yada, yada, yada. Okay, what we're not seeing, though, is some Max influence in there, or Zan influence in there. Where am I? And there's one more hero still to be revealed. Yeah, it's we think there's more than that. But anyway, it's faithful to the originals, however, so don't go expecting much more than a vibrant homage to the titles that had us spellbound as nippers all the way back in the 90s. Are you excited for Streets of Rage 4, or do you think the beat-em-up genre has grown tired in recent years? Throw a punch in the comment section below. Yeah, perfect article. This article did exactly what it's supposed to do, which is it got the attention of people. It got the attention, I think, of people who are interested in Streets of Rage 4. From a casual perspective, they just want to play the game, and they're excited that a beat-em-up is back, or they're excited that a new game in the Streets of Rage series is coming back. And then it also got people like me who are probably more in the hardcore, whatever that means, but, someone like me who's just a top player in Streets 2 and 3, to kind of take a look at it and explain things. But yeah, you're gonna get tired of games when you're playing them at a very basic level. It's like if you're like, the guitar, when you're playing the guitar, it's just you doing this the whole time. It's like, well, you can play the guitar that way, but the excitement, the thrill, the what do I want to say? But anyway, what makes the guitar fulfilling to play is when you play it well. When you're playing it the way it's maybe intended to be played at a higher level when you're an adult. So you want something that's fun for the kids that you can put at a low level. You want something that's fun for people that are a little bit older. When you get to be like 15 or 16, you can be as good at a video game as somebody in their 40s. It doesn't really matter. So you want to be designing your video games for both kids to play, that's fun on easy difficulty and normal difficulty, and also for older people to play as well on the higher difficulties. So, crank the difficulty up. That's what I gotta say to you. Crank it up, play with Max, go into Streets of Rage 2, get annihilated. You might gain some appreciation for it. Quit button mashing, okay? quit strumming your guitar like a madman and being like pounding on the piano. All right, I'm bored with this. Boy, pounding on this piano, I don't get it. I don't get why people think this is so much fun, just like smashing the piano. It's not fun smashing the piano, but man, when somebody plays it well, it sure is entertaining. Okay, thank you, Sammy. Thanks for the article. I appreciate it. Sammy Barker. All right, awesome. Later on, I am Anthopants.